What's good, everybody? Hope y'all doing well. Let's make a beat for EST Gee's new project, Mad. I'm not gonna say too much else. Let's just jump right into the sample. So I originally got this starter from my bro Zave. I'm gonna put his socials up on the screen and also leave a link in the description. With the starter, he laid out a bunch of the foundation. Overall, he set the whole tone for it. So he has the strings in here, the original bass notes, a second strings pattern, and a few more layers to fill out the sound a little more. So this is what the starter sounds like by itself. The sounds I added weren't too complicated. The first sound I grabbed was the Whistler's lead from Omnisphere, and in the MIDI I put down a pretty simple pattern, and without any effects, this is what it sounds like. So overall, kind of a spacey type of vibe, but I wanted to make it a little more unique and fit the loop a little better. So I went to the effects and put on some Portal, and it's the future preset from Max Shooter's Waves Crate 1.5. So the melody with the Portal now sounds like this. Next, I grabbed this Harp one shot. And this comes from my boy Marco Lenz's Riot multi-kit. And with this pattern, I've tried to put in something quicker than the last one. Overall, just kind of give it a basic counter melody type of vibe. So pretty much just the same pattern repeating from measure to measure, and then on the 4th and 8th measures I just put the last note up by 11 semitones. Of course I didn't leave that dry, I threw a few effects on. The first being an EQ that cuts out the lows and reduces the high a little bit. Then I put on some RC20 on the Lush and Crunch Guitar 2 preset. I turned down the distortion and turned the noise off. Then I went back into Portal and I got the Twisted Circles preset from HZE's Grain Synthesis Bank. And lastly, I just threw on some default halftime. With all the effects, this is what the melody now sounds like. Then I went back to Marco Lenz's Riot kit and I got this strings phrase. Originally it was in B minor, so what I did is I double clicked on it. I time stretched it so that it was 8 measures, and then I pitched it up to the appropriate key, which in this case is D minor, which is 300 cents higher than B minor. And then lastly, I just went in and put down a pluck bass. I think this is from like a West Coast or a Sacramento drum kit. And with this, I'm pretty much just following the bass notes of the piano in Zave's starter. And putting it in context with the second part of the starter, this is what it sounds like. After that, I just went through and arranged the rest of the loop here, and then I stemmed it out with the stem set in the starter. After this was fully arranged, I hit Ctrl-Shift-R and rendered it out as an MP3 file. So once I had that full loop as an MP3, I put it into a new project file, and in here I added the drums and arranged the finished beat. For the drums, I tried to make this a little bit more intricate than what I normally do. Typically, a lot of EST Gee beats are a little bit more complex, like on the hi-hats and the snares. For my first couple drum sounds, I tried to keep it pretty simple. The first being this clap sound, and I layered that with this hard snare. I just put those on the 3rd beat of every measure. After that, I put down my hi-hat pattern. With this, it's pretty similar to a lot of trap beats where I just have a basic 2-step pattern. How I lay out my 2-step patterns is I go to the channel rack here, I right click on the hi-hat sound and then hit fill each 2 steps. After that, I went up to the magnet setting here and I switched it to 1/3 step. So the rolls you see highlighted here are the ones using the 1/3 step snap to grid. If I zoom in, you can see that these red notes all fit on the grid lines. And for the rest of the rolls, I use the 1/2 step snap to grid. So the ones highlighted in red here are the ones using the 1/2 step snap to grid. And for my last set of rolls, I put down a couple identical ones in the 1/6 beat. And those are these two right here highlighted in red. Also at the bottom, notice how I adjusted the velocities here. I feel like this is really key in giving your hi-hat character when it comes to emphasizing certain notes with the rolls. So try to experiment with that, but also don't make the shifts in the hi-hat velocities too different to where it doesn't really fit with everything. So after putting down those hi-hats, I put down this open hat sound. And with these, I just tried to layer it with where I thought the 808 would have been and put it in places that just overall accented well with the drums that we had so far. And my second to last drum sound is this kick. Similar to the open hat, I wanted to layer this with the 808 and also establish a little bit more bounce with what we already have with the beat. And finally, the last sound y'all been waiting for is the 808. This has been my go-to 808 for about a couple months now. It's pretty much just a spins 808 with a little bit of a boost at the beginning. If you just have a normal spins 808 sample, you can do this by going to this menu right here and upping the boost to about 2 or 3%. And also for this beat, I didn't put an envelope on the 808s because I wanted it to ring out in certain spots. So I just put it on cut self. Overall, this 808 pattern is fairly straightforward. It's pretty much following the same bass notes as the bass in the sample. So putting it together with all the other sounds we got, this is pretty much what the final beat sounds like. That's going to wrap it up for this one. Thank y'all for watching all the way to the end. I have a link in the description if you want to leave me video recommendations. That's pretty much it for this one, so I'll see you on the next one. Peace.
Roll up, Ted. Roll up, Ted.